Everybody, and welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Brennan Cobb, and today I've got OMAR Andreasen on the show. Seasoned real estate investor and agent, runs a booming brokerage business. I'm excited to get into some of the ways that he's building revenue in his brokerage, especially if you're a real estate agent. Listening in today is going to be huge. But even if you're not, just how to grow your sphere of influence and making money the organic way, right? Like, I think that we've been in a recession since 2023, and the best way to make money is organically, where you're not having to spend a ton of time and effort doing that. And I think today's guest has kind of cracked that code. He's also the podcast host of the Mr. Deed podcast. Great show. You should go and check it out. OMAR, welcome to the show.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Brandon, for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. We were talking a little bit about your business before we hopped on here, and you said something that really caught my attention. I was like, hey, let's save this for the show. And that is your sphere of influence and like how you're using that to generate several $100,000 per year, which is extremely impressive because it usually doesn't require a whole lot of input in order to generate money from referrals or organically. Like, I'm a big organic fan. I believe in it. And that just it takes time to usually do stuff like that. But I'm very interested to kind of dive in and seeing how you built that. But before we do, for those that don't know who you are, like, what's your story and what do you do?
What's my story? Oh, we're gonna down that rabbit hole too, huh? All right. So, from Puerto Rico. So, left Puerto Rico when I was 3, raised in Miami. Then let's see, University of Miami boy. Spent some time in Europe, 2 years in Europe, and then came back and made Central Florida my home. So I have a it's boy, and we live in a town called Celebration, Florida. And uh, I started, you know what? I started realizing when I was in school, in college, like, well, where did I want to go? What did I want to do as far as when it came to a living? And it quickly came to where I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of sports anymore. So in my junior year in high school, I started to fall in love with real estate. At the time, I was a running back, so my fullback, his family actually owned a development company. And I remember we had to do a paper my junior year, so I followed him and his family around, and that's what kind of got the bug in me about real estate. I'm like, man, this is kind of cool. So then from there, decided to start flipping and doing some light development, and got my real estate license so I can keep some more of the income, so I don't have to pay commissions all out and actually get commissions when we pay it in, and there we go. From there, went from flipping, investing into real estate, and then went down the second rabbit hole of actually working with real estate companies such as EXP and Compass, and then putting agents within our own team and helping agents out.
Yeah. I mean, the agent thing, I mean, it is a competitive industry. It might be one of the most competitive industries. I think I saw some funny statistic here in Nashville where there was like more real estate agents than homes on the market. It's crazy. And I know the 80/20 principle applies here where, 20% of the agents, they have like 80% of the business, right? So how how have you gone about successfully growing that business in one of the most competitive industries? Like, what do you feel like has you've done in order to differentiate, make yourself stand out and be successful?
So my family background is education and also to customer service. They owned restaurants and whatnot, so I worked in the restaurants as a kid. And one of the things was always about just treating the customer the way you would want to be treated. And I was like, that's not hard, right? And being honest with people. And just, by the way, when I say honest, I mean brutally honest, to where they know that where you gain that trust, like, wow, okay, I've never heard that from somebody else. So that was one of the main key points is like, you know what? Not only are we going to be by far the best when it comes to customer service, and it's funny, I tell my team all the time, I'm like, I want it to be to where we're as efficient as McDonald's and the customer service of Chick-fil-A. So just to dumb it down for the listeners, and I just wanted to keep it that simple. And I'm like, that's all we have to do. I was like, if we do that and keep them informed, and our systems are just flowing through, and our customer service is through the roof, then you
Hmm.
know what? That's all we need to do. Let's just concentrate on those things right there. And so you concentrate on that, the rest is gold because everyone's always going to keep on coming back to you.
How did you go about creating, when you were first starting out, creating those new client relationships? Because I think that's where every real estate agent, especially when they're first starting out, struggle. And any new business owner, quite frankly, really struggles when it comes to going and getting their first clients.
So how did I start like the whole system or just getting the first client?
Yeah. So you built up a system where you have repeat business, right? That's where
Correct.
everybody wants to get to in business. Again, because all the stuff that he's talking about with real estate agents is directly applicable to any business, quite frankly. Like every business wants to get where they have a recurring customer base, and those recurring customers are referring their friends and family and other people to them, right? Like that's the end state. But like, what did you do? What do you think you did in the very beginning that allowed you to start building that clientele?
We I went above and beyond and I started documenting everything that I was doing. So let me define above and beyond. When it came down to communication, I over communicated. Made sure that we were always there checking in with them. Hey, listen, I haven't heard from you in a while. Is everything okay? Is there something that maybe I didn't cover to get you to that next step? And then as I'm documenting the systems, I was saying, okay, well, if I'm dealing with a buyer, what do I need to do in order to get him to X? If I'm dealing with a seller, what do I need to do in order to get him to X? So I was kind of experimenting as I was documenting everything and saying, okay, you know what? When I deal with a seller, this is what I found that will get that seller to say not only yes to me, but then after we sell their property, like, hey, by the way, my neighbor was thought about selling and I referred them to you, so here you go. And when it came to our buyers, a lot of people sit there and they give a closing gift, and that's all they give. So we do it slightly different. When our buyers go, let's say our buyers get a contract accepted. Well, if I know that person is a big coffee person, we go ahead and we handwrite them a card, say, hey, congratulations on going into contract. You know what? I know it's exhausting, so here's $20 gift card to Starbucks on us. Go enjoy yourself. All right. Then we come to the inspection period. Then we'll send them a gift when we pass the inspection. Then we send them another gift when they pass the appraisal. Then we have something for them at the closing. So we're literally just always making sure that we're taking care of them. We're like, you know what? We want to be the number one raving fan for them all the way through. So that's some of the stuff that we started doing really to make us stand out from anybody else when it came to this is why you want to deal with the Andreessen group because we're going to be there with you the whole way, always thinking about you and putting ourselves second, putting you first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, the you've got the customer service thing down, and that's really what it boils down to. Is it's an experience. We're all in the experience business, whether you like it or not. And what I found is interesting, and I want to see if you do anything here. I was reading the book Diary of a CEO from Stephen's famous podcast. He wrote a book. I really like the book. And one thing really stood out to me that we implemented in our businesses, which is this whole psychological experience curve. He has another name for it, but what he had learned from these interviews and being in business was that when it comes to having an experience with a product or service, we really only remember like three parts. We remember the beginning, we remember the end, and then we remember like the best part of whatever the experience is, right? And so when people are deciding whether or not to do business with you again, it's really important to get those three parts right. And he argues like the end is I think he said like one of the most important because you could have a bad experience, but if the ending is really good and they're happy, like you might have just fixed the whole thing. So there's a few things like, when somebody just starts to do business with us or buys from us, depending on what business is and what client, at the very beginning, we try to put as many touch points as possible
Mhm.
when they first do business with us so that they feel like, oh my gosh, like we're getting a lot right here. The more touch points, the more that you give. That's worked out really well for us. And then making sure at the very end, like we get that wow effect, that's really, really important. Do you do anything else? Like, do y'all have like a customer experience roadmap that you guys use that is going to make each experience a success?
Yeah, funny enough, we actually added to that roadmap this morning. So we went a step further, and we're like, okay, we have a new listing coming in, and I'm like, let's add this to the roadmap. Let's now call this text number one, email number one, and all we're doing is, and then I'm like, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna send these documents. After you send these documents, you're gonna send text number one. Then after that, email number one, send that through. We're going to update some things because I feel as if we need to get better at that customer part when we're talking to them about to they said yes to listing with us. Now it's okay. I want to touch it a little bit more, and it let me tell you why I went that route, because one of the clients that we started dealing with, well, she's going through a divorce. And as I'm talking to her within the listing appointment, I started thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? We need to step up our services a little bit more when it comes to, let's over communicate, because she was asking me a lot of questions that I'm like, man, like I know some other people probably think it's basic, but I can understand where her concerns are because of what she's going through. She's not only is she a single mother, not only is she also a grandmother, she's now her high school sweetheart and her have just split up. She's selling the home that she grew up in. I'm like, so you know what? I I saw a hole, and I'm like, we need to step it up a little bit more. So now we're going to include this in our email number one, and we're going to include this in text number one, because it's one of those things where it's not necessarily a broad stroke, but I think anyone can see it. I think anyone when they're going through different customers, there's always that one thing that you met with a customer on, or maybe that one thing that you dropped the ball on, like, you know what, our systems didn't catch that. We need to adjust our systems to do that. Because you always need to make sure that you're improving your systems and your business throughout every
Mhm.
single month, every single week, every single day, because there's always some kind of improvement that you can do. Nothing's ever perfect. So with that being said, we went back this morning, and I was with our team for 2 hours. I'm like, this is what we need to do. Let's change this up completely, because this experience just opened up my eyes to something different.
Mhm. Interesting. So yeah, you guys utilize some kind of customer experience roadmap too.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? You have to though, because if you want to grow as a business, and if you're one of those business owners that are so much hands-on that you can't relinquish anything, you're like, no, nothing happens unless I say so. This, that, you don't have a business. You're babysitting. So you have to trust. There's a reason why you hired your admin. There's a reason why you hired if you're on the selling side, a listing agent, a showing agent, etc. Because you're doing that to relieve some of your stress so you can build really your business and work on your business. But if you have trust issues, you don't have a business. You're
Yeah.
babysitting all the way through. And this is why we have that roadmap. We have that roadmap on purpose because I want to make sure that through that roadmap, we're doing everything correctly. And I'm like, look, just and we have that whole roadmap and check sheet all the way through that. And it is literally getting changed at least once a month. I'm like, oh, we got to add this to it. Oh, we got to add this to it. And yeah, it's frustrating for some of the people that work for us, but then at the same time, they're like, listen, it's all about the reason why you're still employed here is because of we keep improving our systems and people keep on coming back to us. And every single year we keep on growing by at least 15 to 20%. So I know you might not like it, but that's the secret sauce,
Mm.
in my opinion.
That's yeah, I agree with you because you've got to have something that's repeatable, replicatable to get the experience that you need in order to get the business that you want and have people recommend you. So let's talk about the sphere of influence because you said that you've had a lot of success here. Well, maybe define what sphere of influence is, and how you're using it to create revenue.
Yeah, so sphere of influence is well, SOI, sphere of influence, and that's pretty much anybody. It's a raving fan. Yeah, how many times have you gone to a restaurant, you're like, you know what, they have the best steak in the world, and you tell a friend, and
Yeah.
or you do a Google review on it, for example. So that's pretty much what an SOI is. And one of the things that we've done really well is going through a lot of books and understanding that we have to make sure that we want to be in your RAS. We want to make sure that when you think about real estate, you think about the Andreessen Group. That there's nobody else you think about when it comes to real estate. So we're very good at staying in front of you and in many, many different ways, all the way from private events that we hold, all the way from emails, email blasts that we send out to you. We send out email blasts when we have an open house. We have to send an email blast when we have a new property coming soon, just sold, just pending. We're letting you know what's going on within the community. But then at the same time, hey, maybe you might have a buyer for it. Maybe you want, your sister or your brother to move in next door, your best friend. So this is why we're always in your face. So we're in face with emails, text messages, video text messages, social media. We are following you on social media. We also do our newsletter that goes out. We have the first newsletter that goes out the first part of the week, and then in the middle of the week, the second part of the newsletter is just an update on the market report, so you know what's going
Hmm.
on. Um, on top of that, we use HomeBot to send out a kind of what's your house worth. So then that's going out to you. And then with the HomeBot, it talks to you, okay, have you ever thought about renting out the property? If so, here's how the numbers would look. Maybe Airbnb, this is how the numbers will look. Maybe it's time for you to refi and buy another property. This is what that would look like. Then we also do handwritten postcards, man. I'll sit there and I write probably 10 to
This is
15.
for current clients, not future
Yeah,
clients. This
this
is
is
like
for current clients. Yeah,
current clients. Yeah.
current clients. Like I'll sit there and I'll literally write, "Hey, thinking about you, man. Hope all is well." Especially if I see something on Facebook. I always go on Facebook, spend about 20 minutes. I'm like, there you go. You know what? So and so is expecting his wife just got pregnant. Let me reach out to her. You know what? One of the dogs passed away. So instead of just sometimes I'll call, sometimes I'll text, but I get a lot more response from just writing a postcard. People are like, dude, got your postcard. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And mind you, that postcard thing, we take it, well, that's the SOI side. We take it to a different level. We now, if I went to a listing appointment, we did a listing appointment yesterday for a $2 million listing. And I literally wrote a handwritten card. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Loved learning more about you and your husband. We sent that off last night. So then they're going to get that from us. We do it when we meet anybody at events. I literally get their information, get a business card from them. Hey, great meeting you. Or sometimes if for whatever reason we don't have an address, I'll do a quick video. Dude, it was awesome meeting you so much. Thank you. I would love to collaborate and see what we can do in the future. I do it with potential agents that might want to join us. Hey, great meeting you. If you ever need anything, feel free to call me or text me. I'm just a phone call away, whether you join us or not. There's something about that handwritten postcard that takes it to another level and people love it. And I think it's because we are so disconnected now with technology.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the personal touch. I
Yeah.
talk about this so much. Like I'm obsessed with AI right now and building AI agents and running the business. And I see everybody's AI is posting on social media now. And you've basically lost that human touch on social media. You can immediately see when somebody posts something that's AI and you're like, you lose the trust. You're like, that's not them, it's somebody else. And I think that as we move in this digital automated world, that human touch is going to become more and more important, because at the end of the day, when robots and AI is doing everything, you have to ask your question. You have to ask yourself the question, what does it mean to be human, right? If we're not having to do all these things, and that human touch is more important than ever, especially. And it's so funny that you mentioned the handwritten stuff. When I was in medical device sales, every time I go to a doctor's office and couldn't get in touch with them, handwritten card, right? Drop it a note, drop it in their box so that they see it. Every time when I was in real estate, flipping houses, going to people's homes, I would go meet the house. I'd walk out of the house. First thing I'd do before I get in the car, go put a handwritten thank you card in the mailbox. When somebody invests with us, and they get like a return of their money back, handwritten card in their mailbox with like a little gift, like you said, or a big gift sometimes. Like, I like giving big gifts when people invest lots and lots of money. So again, it's the basics. It doesn't matter what business it is. This is how you stand out. It's how you differentiate. It's that human touch. Do you do anything else that is kind of similar besides the handwritten stuff that
Yeah,
inserts that
so
human element into things?
yeah, and this is so we actually do pop buys. So a pop, and what I love about the pop buys is that we'll do it on specific times. Like, well, let me tell you where we get so many people are always well, there's two things that people love about what we send. And I remember the one time we missed it and my phone was going off the hook and like text messages. And I told my wife, I'm like, holy crap. So it was on St. Patrick's Day. What we would do is a couple of days before St. Patrick's Day, we would put together, I would go to Walmart and just buy a crap load of little travel Baileys. So we'll grab Baileys. We would put Baileys in a little baggie. We would put a lottery ticket, not a lot, a scratch off in there, and then my business card. And
Oh,
then
that's
I'm like,
cool.
hey, and just thought about it. So we would knock on, I wouldn't even knock on the door, just leave it there in front of their house, and that's it. Those little drop-bys, I tell
Yeah,
you what, that takes it to a next level. Next level. I mean, yeah, it's annoying because you got to drive everywhere, but guess what, guys? I mean, one of the if you're making if you start doing little things like that, you talk about your business just going up to completely different. Mind you, you can hire somebody if you want to drop those off, but it's one of those things to where, but whenever I do certain drop bys, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself because maybe I haven't seen this person while I've reached out to them, so I'm gonna knock on the door see if they're there. But the drop bys take it to a different level. That and then my wife always does like these weird Christmas cards, man. And like we did a hip hop one last
yeah.
year where it was me and the kids and her like all dressed hip hop and Merry Christmas and this, that. So it was cool. Like she always does something really weird that just makes it really stand out. And everyone's like, dude, we're always looking forward to getting your Christmas cards.
That's
Oh
a,
wait.
that's a cool little personal way to stay in touch too.
Yeah.
And
Did I say postcards? I don't think I said postcards. Yeah, we send out postcards to all our SOIs. I don't know if I mentioned that one, but yeah, we have postcards go out automatically on the 15th every month. Just fire.
sendoutcards.com is good with that. We would do that like for a 4th of July or Christmas, hey, thinking of you. Hope you're doing well. And it's not handwritten, but it at least gives that little
It's a touch.
human
It's a
element to it.
touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They keep in touch because that's the key is you to get recurring business, you got to continue to stay top of mind.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? And
Yep.
not just stay top of mind, but you have to continue to deliver value to
Hmm.
them that makes them go, oh, I'm not going to get the new guys stuff or go with a new agent or go with a new vendor, whoever it is. Like I want to stay with my current one. And so like that's the key is having some kind of automated follow-up system and keep in touch system that's automated, but you still insert that human touch into it.
No, you know what? You're right. And you hit something there because yesterday I was speaking to some brand new agents that are just in real estate school. And and I was talking to them about bringing value. And when you bring value, I said it's not only about postcards, it's not only about dropping off the gifts. It's like it's about informing them about what's happening in the real estate world that will actually be an advantage to them. And sure enough, this one lady who just moved here from New York about 4 years ago, she goes, and we got on the subject about the property taxes here in Florida. I don't know if you heard, but it's going to be in November. We get to vote for it. So what that vote is at the moment right now in the state of Florida, if it's your primary home, you get 50,000 off, $50,000 off whatever the house appraised for. So then you pay taxes on not the 300,000 but $250,000, right? On that value. And then now the state of Florida is saying, "Hey, listen, we're going to put out it's hitting in November, so if we when it goes through, well, that means now you can write off $150,000 of your appraised value. So now instead of $300,000, you're going to pay of the appraised value. Now you $300,000 minus 150. So now you're going to pay property taxes on 150. And then that's in 2027. 2028, they're proposing that that's going to move now to $250,000. And the first thing this lady said, yeah, she goes, I don't know how the state of Florida is going to afford that. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, they're just getting rid of property taxes. I'm like, no, they're not. I said, and I told her, I said, you are listening to everybody else because that's exactly what everybody else said. So I said, listen, here's my link. I actually explained it to everybody about what it looks like. Because no, the state of Florida is not getting rid of property taxes. That's a lie, number one.
Yeah.
Complete lie. I said, but what they're doing is they were already rewarding you if you called the state of Florida home. Now they're just expanding that. And that's only to people who live here full time or call it home. It's not to investors, it's not to second home. I said it has nothing, it doesn't affect our taxes that we pay for schools and trash and everything. I said, you need to stop being so misinformed. I said, you need to do your own homework. That is the biggest problem that I see within real estate agents. They hear something and they're like, oh, they just run with it. Well, and I told her, I said, you're about to find out that you're about to be a professional and you start misinforming your clients and they buy a property because of this, there's something called a lawsuit that's coming your way
Yeah,
here sooner
yeah,
or
yeah.
later because you misrepresented yourself and you misrepresented why they bought that place. So you have to be very careful and start doing your homework before you just start running that mouth of yours. Because I don't know how many times I see people get in trouble because they don't actually provide value. They just hear something and then they just run with it. Well, I said, you're going to learn really fast that that is not the way to run your business.
Well, and what people are starting to realize too is you can use AI to filter and cipher stuff to sue people. It has
Yeah.
never been easier, and this kind of hasn't caught on and become mainstream yet. But it's trust me, with all the ambulance chasing lawyers and everyone is lawsuit trigger happy these days, it's coming. But using AI in order to find ways to sue somebody who is uh, able to be sued. You know, my brother does concrete, right? So driveways, sidewalks, patios, and like big commercial pour pads downtown. He's working on some really cool big projects. So there's a guy, there's a lawyer that literally just goes business to business to business to business. And he's looking for older businesses that are not ADA compliant. ADA means you've got that the wheelchair accessible ramp into the building, like and it might not be the right slope, right? If the incline is too much, it's not ADA compliant. And he just writes them letters and sues them. You can do that as an attorney. You can go sue somebody for not being ADA compliant. He's not. I don't even think he's in a wheelchair, which is a
Probably
crazy
not.
thing. And so, yeah, it's what Omar just said is so important when it comes to staying protected in the lawsuit stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
Um,
And the second thing I would add this, put everything in writing and make sure that you CC at least two people in that email.
mhm.
Because after I finish with every client, I make sure that everything's done in writing because guys, they at the end of the day, we're human. We only hear what we want to hear. So you always have to make sure that you cover your ass. Because I there's been many times that I've been people try to sue me. I'm like, nope. There's that I'm literally told and I would always usually BC and I always BC my attorney and CC my admin and my two admins and BC my attorney. I'm like, here you go, just put it in the file just in case. And sure
Yeah,
enough, every single time someone tries to sue me, I'm like, no, 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 no. Look right. He goes, yeah, no, you're right. You covered your ass. So he would go back to the attorney, like, dude, here you go. He goes, Omar put that in writing. He goes, oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? I'm like, yeah. And supposedly the people said that they never received them. Like, well, that's odd because they received all his other emails and responded back, but then to this one, they decided not to respond back. So, but you can see that I got it and two other people got received it as well. So and I learned that once again from the very first time when I got screwed. So always put it in writing and BC and CC other people and BC your attorney if you have to as well. So,
words of wisdom
yeah.
from a man who's lived it. Very wise man. Omar, if people want to learn about you, learn more about your business. I know you do a lot of different stuff. Where can they go?
Yeah, man. Definitely go to our YouTube, Omar Andreasen. You can find us there. You can find us on social media as well, Omar Morales Andreasen. on Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, definitely reach out to us. We'll love it. Listen, if you're an agent or business or just reach out to me, man. I love talking to agents and just and I love teaching people what's in here because it kind of helps me understand like, okay, maybe I didn't do all these years of real estate for nothing. I like passing that knowledge on and making sure that we're helping other agents and other business people along the way.
Yeah, I love it. And can you spell like your last name that way
Yeah, absolutely.
people
Andreasen
know?
is yeah. N is in Nancy, D is in Delta, REA, S is in Sam, N is in Nancy. So Andreasen. Yeah, so
Perfect. Yeah,
Andrea
that way
and
they
then
can easily.
SEN. There you go.
Good deal. That way they can easily find you. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Thanks for coming on the show. And hey, if you're listening to this and somebody comes to mind that needs to hear what Omar is saying, share this episode with them. Give us a like, give us a follow, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for coming on the show, Omar.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. It's been a pleasure, brother.